In this lesson, we're going to talk about file storage. File storage is slightly different in Android than on a desktop system in that there's the SD card to manage. Sometimes it's present and other times it's not. That can be a major consideration depending on what you're storing, particularly if you're storing media, images, videos, or audio. In Mono, we have a couple of choices as to how we want to do file I/O. There is a full suite of Java I/O classes, and there is the corresponding .NET System I/O classes. In this lesson, we're going to use the System I/O because it's a little bit more familiar for .NET programmers, and it also would translate over to other operating systems. In this lesson, we're also going to talk about the Assets folder. The Assets folder allows us to embed files into our package that we're going to deliver, and then we can expand them later on. In this case, we're going to have an asset of a picture of a moose, and we're going to move that file from the assets into an area where we can get at it and where the user can see it as well on their system. And then we're going to read that file and display the image in an image view. So we have a couple of strings that we want to keep for members, the file name, and we're going to have a directory. And this directory is going to vary depending on whether we're on local storage or we're on an SD card. We have the button handlers, and the first one moves the file from the assets onto the device. So we're going to be looking for a directory, and the first thing we want to know is if we have external storage available. So if our external storage state is media mounted, that indicates that we do have external storage and we could potentially use that. In order to use that, we need to get the application and its method called getExternalFiles directory. And we pass it in a constant for the directory pictures. If the SD card is not mounted, then we just get a get folder path, and we use the My Pictures folder path. And finally, if the directory does not exist, we're just going to create it. And our entire picture path will combine this directory that we just figured out and the picture file name. Now we get to move the asset into that file. We get a stream from our assets, opening up the picture file name. And then we create a stream to our target directory, and we create a new file. And then we just copy from the asset directory to the target directory using the streams. Finally, the easy part, the reading the file into an image view. We're going to create an Android graphics bitmap. And we'll talk quite a bit more about bitmaps when we get into the drawing portion of the course. We'll create a bitmap using a bitmap factory, and we'll decode the file that was in our picture path. And we'll find our image view and simply set its bitmap to the bitmap that we've read from that file. So let's see how that works. So first we'll move the file from our assets, and then we'll just read it and display it. And there's our moose picture. So this is the basics on how to use files, and also a little bit about how to use assets, and even a touch more about how to deal with bitmaps.